sculpting, not the painting, not the art part. I like the part where I take a shape and I dissect it into its parts.
The question that I have kind of connects with the first one, what you've said, and I didn't partially answered. But if you could meet your younger self at the start of your art journey, do you think she'd be proud of where you are now, and why is that?
If you don't mind, I have a bit of a fidget toy. I always get fidgety during interviews. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, probably if I was getting interviewed, I'd be a bit stressed. So that's okay. Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to another episode of the podcast series X, Y, and Z. And I have a very special guest today.
Hello.
One of the head developers for the video game Prehistoric Kingdom, Cindy Raggo.
Hey everyone, how y'all doing?
Okay, without further ado, start with a question. What keeps you motivated to keep developing Prehistoric Kingdom after over a decade?
Over a decade. I would say I make dinosaurs for video games is factually one of the best icebreakers at parties or social gatherings. That's been great. But I would say more seriously, I really, really like the team that we're working with. We've really gone far in this past decade or so and got a lot of loyalty there and a lot of enjoyment out of it. I like the community and pretty much I'm living the dream. Ask anybody in dinosaurs. They've been interested in dinosaurs since they were young. Ask any artist. They don't remember the time that they picked up a pencil. Well, some do, but I'm definitely in one of those groups that doesn't remember when they first picked up a pencil. So, I kind of figured out I wanted to work in video games when I was 10. Mm-hmm. So the fact that I'm basically living the dream is what keeps me here. And it's great.
Amazing. So you would say it's a mixture of living your past kid, let's say, dream, and the social circle.
Yeah. Oh, well, you say living the past dream. It's also the present dream, honestly. Yeah. I don't think I'd want to do anything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing to hear. So you've been working in 3D for a while now. And what would you say was the most unexpected or surprising thing that you've discovered along the way?
So I've got three answers to this question because I kept coming up with new ones because it took me a while to I feel like once you get to a certain point, things stop surprising you. I would say overall, I use a third-party program to bake textures, XNormals, and it's really good. And what surprises me is, number one, how good it is, and number two, how good it's been for doing what I need it to do since 2015. How did this guy get it right that long ago, and it's still good? I like the quality of the normal maps I get. It's the same with the cavity maps. It's really good for both of those, and there's more things you can bake and more settings. It's crazy. Even though it's got a Windows Media Player XP skin, it's actually good. Probably the next bit is how much I came to love unwrapping UVs. It was very, very infuriating at the beginning when I didn't fully understand what it was I was doing. But once it finally clicked, for whatever reason, manually unwrapping, which I do, is one of my favorite parts of the whole thing.
Really?
Not the sculpting, not the painting, not the art part. I like the part where I take a shape and I dissect it into its parts. My mother was an engineer, so maybe that's what it is.
Oh, maybe.
I'm cursed. And I've actually got one more answer, which is a lot more general life and more in the abstract. I think it's just how changeable between individuals and even in yourself over time the definition of success is. Um, and just how different everybody's metric is for success. So, you ask me if I'm successful. I ain't got a whole lot of money, but I'm doing what I love. And it's interesting how that changes over time too. But that is just something I have learned now that I'm in my 30s. But, it takes your 20s to get to that.
Wow, these are really interesting things, but I love the third answer. But coming back to the UV unwrapping, I wanted to ask, what was it? I think I forgot, but I had it in my mind.
Oh no. Well, take your time. It'll come back. Come back to you at 2 a.m.
Probably, yeah. But it was... yeah. Do you also feel like UV unwrapping becomes more of a fun thing once you have everything that comes before UV unwrapping done well? Like, if you get the forms in the sculpting, if you get the topology right, then UV unwrapping is like a child's play. But if you mess up the topology, it's gonna become a hell. So maybe that's why you start to enjoy the UV unwrapping later when you have the expertise.
Yeah. Once you do it enough, you know what your edge flow needs to look like, and so you can stop yourself from doing really crazy, I was about to say anatomy, that's not the word, Cindy. A really crazy mesh. You can stop yourself from doing like weird kites everywhere. Sometimes you gotta, but when you have that sort of experience, you can sort of predict what you're going to need to do, and it does make it easier and more enjoyable. But I'm also a freak, so that might be part of it.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. So you obviously have, as I said before, a bit of experience in the career. What would you say a daily or a weekly habit has had the biggest impact on improving your art skills?
This question made me laugh. I have ADHD. I am really bad at making habits. Like, that is the hardest thing for me to do, is to make a habit. I would say that because I do this for my job and I'm doing it every day, that sort of forces me into having that habit. So I don't have any helpful insight on this. It's literally the habit that's made the biggest impact on improving is just doing it every single day, or not every single day, but frequently. You can't do it every single day. Nobody can. But doing it frequently and remembering to take my medication. That's been very helpful.
Yeah, that's a very unsexy answer that you have to practice a lot, basically, but unfortunately that's true.
Yeah, if anybody, and I've had some people, even when I was young, like asking, how do I get good? You do it, man. You look at what you're trying, in the case of drawing, you look at what you're trying to draw and you draw it, and if it doesn't look good, you draw it again, and if it doesn't look good, you draw it again until it looks good. Unfortunately, it's one of, it's a very unsexy answer, but it's true. Just do it.
Yeah. So the question that I have kind of connects with the first one, what you've said, and I didn't partly answered. But if you could meet your younger self at the start of your art journey, do you think she'd be proud of where you are now, and why is that?
So this is another one of those questions that I went a little long-winded on. It depends on where in the art journey you mean at the start. If you mean at the start of it, I was probably like 18 months old. That's how old I was when my dad put a pencil in my hand and I never put it down. I would say, maybe a little further on when I had, sentience and sapience and wasn't just a grub. Probably 3. The fact that I make dinosaurs would be very impressive to her. I also have a note in here that she would also ask me if she could eat all the cheese I have in the fridge and demand to use the knife because she knows how to use a knife, thank you very much. She's not the best judge. I don't know. 3-year-old's not the best judge of that. If you mean at the time I decided I wanted to work in video games specifically,
yes.
I would have been 10 or 11, roughly around 4th, 5th grade time frame for me. I think I saw, it was a book of concept art for something, and I was just like, well, that's obviously what I'm going to do. It was a light bulb switched in my brain, that's what I'm going to do. And I understand that not everybody has that. And I feel fortunate's not the word. Blessed isn't quite the word. Lucky, I suppose, that happened to me. I would say she would actually be the most pleased with where I am now because I'm working in video games and making dinosaurs every day. So we'd probably high five and watch Star Trek together. If you mean, now the third answer I have is if you mean when I actually started working, that's 22, 23, 24, she'd be okay with it. She would have the most internal pressure to succeed in the idea of aiming big, going big, working at a AAA studio, and she'd be a little anxious and disappointed that that's not where I am. But that's your 20s for you, There was a lot of internalized pressure I put on myself to achieve and to have that idea of success that I had at the time, which was a very specific idea. And, because I had this inflexible, specific idea, there's a lot of stress and self-doubt that comes with it. So I think she would be happy I'm doing it full time, but she would want to see more. So I ignore her and I listen to the 12-year-old. And, I'm not mean ignoring 20-year-old me. I'm kind ignoring 20-year-old me.
Yeah, I love how that's just advice to basically someone from the age of 3 to the age of 20, 30.
Yeah, I got a little sentimental's not the word, but I got very thoughtful with that question. I apologize if I went on a bit of a tangent.
No, that's okay. I appreciate that a lot. So what was your AAA studio dream back in your 20s?
My AAA studio dream was to be an art director for... I didn't have any particular studio in mind, but an art director for a large project that had a decent paycheck and benefits. Those were my 3 things: working full-time in that sort of a position, doing art, having those responsibilities, having the paycheck to back it up, and then having benefits, which, I'm an American, so we kind of need those benefits to live. It's nice to have. But I think that was her specific vision. And she wouldn't have minded continuing to do stuff for smaller studios up until then. But, you ask me now, I'll be like, yeah, no, I'm successful. I'm doing what I love. It doesn't matter that the studio is small. I'm also part of the management of the studio. So I have to remind myself that's actually pretty cool. I frequently forget that, which I don't know why, but I do.
Yeah, that definitely is really cool, I have to say.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for the answer. Could you maybe show us your most recent model that you've been working, your favorite recent model that you've been working for? With?
I didn't realize you wanted me to show it, so I don't have anything like that prepared. My answer is a joke. My favorite animal that I've made for the Dinosaur Zoo game is the regular lion. I really like how the cave lion turned out. I'm very proud of how that turned out. It's a very nice looking cave lion. It also happens that mammals are really easy. I really like having mammals. And if you wanted anything more recent than that, I'm actually really happy with the way that the Gallimimus turned out. And I'm happy I can talk about the Gallimimus now because it's fully out. That was actually a real challenge because with the amount of integument differences between each of the skins, they had a ton of feather carding. So it was a challenge also in arranging the UV maps so that you would get the most resolution possible in all of the places. It was a lot of feather cards. And because it was so many different changes in the integument, it was essentially making 3 animals in the time frame of 1 animal. And I actually think I did a pretty good job of making it and getting it close to the spirit and the look of the concept art I was given. I feel like I did a pretty good job with them.
Yeah, I've checked the beta and I've checked the Gallimimus model and I love it. I've seen some people even say that it's like one of the best reconstructions of the animal.
Neat. I love that. Neat.
Yeah, so by the way, do you still render your projects in Marmoset? Because I've seen your portfolio in our station, and there was a model of Andrew Sarkis, I believe, and there was like a note that I couldn't bake out the fur, so I had to show it in the
That was Hyenodon.
Hyenodon.
I haven't actually been working on rendering out portfolio pieces in probably a couple years, just because the amount of work at PK increased to the point where it's like I don't have to look for other work at the moment. And so I don't know if Marmoset's done anything new. And also I stopped sort of doing it once they accepted AI-generated images. I sort of shied away from using ArtStation after that. I'm not sure how any of their policies have changed. So my ArtStation actually hasn't been updated in quite a while.
So you only use what's the name? XNormals? Is it the name of the software?
XNormal, yeah.
XNormal. Oh yeah. So you only use this for baking out normals and maps, or do you use other softwares?
I pretty much exclusively use XNormal to bake normal maps and cavity maps. Other maps, like albedo, specular, anything like that, I can make with a combination of Substance Painter and Photoshop. If I need any other files baked, which I haven't recently actually had to do that, XNormal has other things you can do, like I think they do curvature maps. And I think you can bake albedo textures or colored, like diffuse information textures from 2 models if one model has them. But I can also do that in Blender. Blender does a pretty decent job of baking that too, or, Substance Painter.
And where do you do your sculpting? Is it ZBrush, Blender?
ZBrush. Predominantly ZBrush. I can sculpt in Blender, and I'm thinking about getting a little bit back into it because I think with the recent updates, they've put more stability in it so it runs better. I don't know if they've added layers. I really like having sculpt layers because then you can turn changes on and off. It's very useful to have. So Blender doesn't fully work into my mindset of non-destructive editing, but I'll do it sometimes, especially if I'm trying to make a base mesh.
So do you model your base meshes, or do you sculpt it and then retopologize? What's your
So if you're asking me personally, I'd model and retopologize after everything is done. With Prehistoric Kingdom, we actually do it opposite, and that's because, personally, I'm not the best at being very strict and strictly keeping to silhouettes and keeping to proportions and all of that. Mao is significantly better, and as the art director, he has a much clearer vision of those sorts of things than I do. So it ended up working out that it was faster and more efficient for Mao to create the base mesh. Then I unwrap the base mesh, take it, and sculpt on top of it in ZBrush. And what I do to make sure that their silhouettes aren't too different, because that's going to cause problems in baking if their silhouettes are different, I actually import a second version, like a copy of the base mesh, and turn that on and off sometimes to make sure that I'm staying as close as I can to that silhouette, and then I bake. So yeah, it's sort of opposite the way that it usually goes. And the reasoning for that is to get the best sort of result we can, especially when it comes to being rigorous to proportions and shape. Because again, I get excited. I'm not going to lie to you. I get excited, and some things tend to get very exaggerated when I work, and I'm not always I don't pay attention as closely as I probably should because I get excited. But, obviously we want to have some rigor in this, and I don't have a problem with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's also great that you wouldn't have in a AAA studio unless you were an art director, but the freedom to have your add your own design a bit. Probably, is there a room to make your own stuff, or do you have to follow very much the concept art?
I have to follow the concept art. I usually stick pretty close to what we're given with the concept art, and I stick pretty close to the direction that I'm given for the look of the animal. Sometimes I'm not given a terribly close direction, and in some very small instances, for instance, when we started doing the infants, none of the infant skins had concept arts. So those were pretty much all just me and Ida, because Ida started helping out with specifically the infants. We sort of just looked at what each of the adult skins were and made it average and then made it look good. So those I actually had, and we did also have references that we had to look at. So it's just like for animals like Gallimimus or something like that, we'd look at ratite babies. I've looked at owl babies and raptor babies, or for some of more of the Maniraptorians. Yeah.
I love the models for the babies. They're really cool.
Yeah. I think my favorite baby is Dryosaurus. I was trying to come up with ideas, and Ida actually said Dryerlint, and I said, yeah, that's what we're doing. We're making Dryerlint. We're making Dryerlint with eyes. I love him. He's my favorite baby.
Yeah, the Lila Sora is also really nice. I love it.
Yes.
Cute, fuzzy,
also very cute.
Baby. Mm-hmm.
Definitely in the Dryerlint category, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, now a question that connects to your art journey. So, could you recall a certain source, a mentor, or a resource that influenced your sculpting skills the most?
Do you want the short answer or the long answer?
The long answer, obviously.
The short answer is nothing stands out in particular. The long answer is when I was in college and in high school and a little bit in middle school, I got really interested in comparative anatomy. And, a lot of artists do. I ended up collecting anatomy books and books about animals and all of that to study them and work on them and work on learning anatomy and how it all goes together. And I've got a collection of bones and taxidermy too. The usual what artists do. That was probably around the time I actually started doing modeling and sculpting in Blender. I had to have been 14, so that was like the middle of the 2000s, middle of the aughts. So Blender was not great, but it did have an undo function at this point, let me say. So I didn't, back in this time frame, unless you went to a very rich, wealthy, probably private school, you're not going to find a lot of classes in high school dedicated to video games or dedicated to any of that. You might find some dedicated to CAD, but like, I don't want to design washing machine bolts, you know? I want to make dinosaurs. Kind of a different thing.
Yeah.
So basically, long story short with that, I was self-taught. Even into college, I went to college for illustration. Part of that was because I live in the state of Virginia, and University was at the time ranked top public college in the United States for its art program. Mm-hmm. So to me, in-state tuition was going to be pretty cheap for a really high quality school. To me, it was a no-brainer. Obviously, I was going to do that. It was going to be the most bang for my buck. And, you know, we weren't terribly poor, but we weren't $28,000 a year for like tuition. Like that's crazy. And that was back in like 2010 money. So Lord knows what it is now. Mm-hmm. So there were maybe 2 classes in college that were about organic modeling, which was their term for creature modeling. And everything else was drawing. So yeah, I was basically self-taught. When I started working for PK, Saurian was starting to gain momentum. So I actually look, and I still do look a lot at Jacob Bard's work for sort of a aspirational, aspirational fidelity goal, especially when I was beginning. If you look at my early work, it's terrible. Don't look at my early work, for the love of Christ. It's pretty much everything. It's a little bit of everything, and very self-taught.
So it's you would say it's a mixture of bits of knowledge from college, so, you know, just drawing to these skills. Comparative anatomy. I do have a book actually on my desk, comparative anatomy. I never had the courage to really study it. I mean, I just get intimidated by the amount of knowledge there. But would you say also, like, Discord, right? Groups, just put yourself out there and seek feedback.
My colleagues. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. So, when you're unhappy with a certain project that you've created, how do you handle it, and how do you move forward with it?
I think a lot of people can agree with this. I don't finish a lot of personal work. I'll either get bored or I'll rage quit it and start something else. The more collected answer I have here that I wrote down, I allow myself the space to be disappointed and upset. That's really important, is to just let yourself feel what you feel, because you're going to feel it anyway. Might as well get it over with. I also have a close network of friends and colleagues and family that I can rely on and talk to if something really gets me down. I'm very blessed in that particular thing. I understand that not everybody has that sort of support network, and if you don't, find it. And if it's really, really bothering me, or I'm really stuck, you gotta get out and touch grass. You have to leave your house. You have to do something else. You have to force your brain to do something else. And not only will it make it easier to get over that little spike of adrenaline you get when you're upset about something, it forces you to think about other things. And it will put things into perspective for you. And like, it can be as simple as, you know, running an errand, doing a chore, doing your laundry, something as simple as that. Or, you know, sometimes when I'm really upset and I've got some really, really bad, I don't live too far away from the mountains, so I actually go and I hike. And I have a moody walk through the woods is what I wrote down. Moodily walk in the woods. It's helpful. It's helpful and healthy. Yeah, that's how I deal with it. I just feel my feelings and get out and touch grass.
Yeah, good. I think that's good advice. I personally like to just hang out with my friends, and exactly that's the point, to get my mind on something else, maybe someone else's problems, and I just realize like that's actually not that bad. That I don't know, I'm upset about my dinosaur model, and
right.
looks ass.
It's also helpful to talk to other people and realize you're not alone in what you're feeling, because 99.9% of the time when you feel like no one understands you, or you can't be understood, or your situation is so unique and so specific, it's not. There's someone out there who's experiencing something very similar. And if they're not experiencing something that's very similar, they can at least sympathize. You know, it puts it back into perspective.
Yeah, totally, yeah, 100%. So, well, we got a bit deep here, but the next question is a bit
I will
technical.
continue to get deep. Oh, don't you worry. I was very thoughtful on all of these questions. I'm sorry.
I appreciate that. So, what do you think? What qualities or skills are essential to successfully manage a video game studio?
So this is another long-winded answer. There's a lot that I thought about, and I will say, I grew up in a family business. It was a small family business. A lot of foundational knowledge and expectation of how it was going to go was already there. You know, and I helped out in the business too when I was like 8, 9, 10, 13, 14. So again, I was very familiar with a lot of stuff. I will say, the company Blue Meridian management is actually we have a very democratic management setup. So a lot of the core devs are involved in a lot of the day-to-day decisions. So because of that, the most important skills I've had to cultivate for that have been the soft skills. So really learning clear communication, working with others, especially if you may not always agree with the other person, that's really hard to do. And willingness to delegate things that you may not be the best fit for. A lot of times there's anxiety of, if I'm not there to do this, how do I know it's going to go well? But you got to delegate. Not one person can do everything at the same time, or they do nothing well. And those are more the soft skills. For more hard skills, financial knowledge, you got to have at least a little bit of it. You got to know, how to make projections in the very least for sales, and how to balance a budget of what your overhead is. So employees, contractors, insurance, if you got it, all of that stuff. You've got to remember to account for those things. I'm not the only one on the team that handles things like projections. I do handle payment, but that's not a terribly difficult thing. I would say the skill involved with that is keeping yourself on track and keeping yourself organized. Oh man, you got to keep yourself organized.
Yeah.
And I have a little touch of dyscalculia, so numbers like to swap places in my brain. But I know this, and I quadruple check everything I do, because I know that numbers will swap places in my brain sometimes because they feel like it. Also, know what you don't know. American tax law is an eldritch horror. I will never be able to understand it. I have tax accountants, and I am completely willing and able to pay for tax accountants to do that, because the last thing I want to do is make a mistake like that. And I know I will. So get the accountant. There is always someone out there who's willing to help. And there's also always someone out there who's willing to do training with you and guidance. And sometimes you can get it done in more of a, I don't want to say a charity kind of setting, but some organizations do that for free. If you fall under a certain size company. Other skills, wading through legalese. If you can't afford a law team, I would say afford the accounting first, because that's the first thing you're probably going to run into. And next, if you can, a legal team. You got to write contracts. And contracts are for the protection of you, the business owner, and also the contractee. It's for everyone's protection and for clarity and everything. So you want to be able to write the contracts, or in the very least, write the contracts, but also have someone interpret them for you and work through that. And then I put down last, professional networking. That's a very difficult skill set to hone. And that's because it's very instinct driven. No one can teach you how to do that. That's been the most frustrating thing I've had to learn is, and that's probably because I have ADHD, I'm neurodivergent. So all of the things that people try to teach me don't click. And it really is very instincts driven, and everybody has their niche. For whatever reason, my best way of professional networking is either in very informal settings or in very large hotel parties. I come alive in very large hotel parties. Don't ask me why. I'm not even a social butterfly, but I love a big party. If you don't connect with one person, you move on. There's another group over there you might connect with.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's just because it's such an informal setting, you relax, and the people around you also relax. So not only are you more comfortable with talking about stuff, so are the other people, and then you form connections. And then you give them your business card and go, if you need me, here's my number. And to me, that's the easiest networking I experience. Some people are not good at that. And unfortunately, it's not a skill that can be taught. You just have to learn it. And it sucks. I got nothing better for that.
So you just need to fail to improve.
Yeah, honestly. There was a joke I made a long time ago. I forget what it was. I messed something up. And this was when I was still doing a side job at IT. And I kind of just sighed and went, it's the little failures that make the difference. It's the little failures.
Oh, I mean, that was super insightful. I mean, I don't know what to say about the business part because I'm still I don't have experience with that. But I'm sure someone will find it useful, maybe me in the future. But there's a lot of information. I appreciate
There's a lot. Yeah.
Okay, so what would you say it's the most valuable lesson that game dev has taught you?
How to navigate and work through compromise when you disagree with something, especially if you strongly disagree with something. Something I tell myself a lot is, do you want to be right or do you want to make a video game? You can stamp and holler and scream all you want, but sometimes you're wrong. Number one, you have to be okay with being wrong. Sometimes you are wrong. Sometimes I'm wrong. Frequently. Excuse me. I don't know where I've got this frog in my throat, but I've got one. He really needs to get out of there. But also, learning how to compromise and move forward, because arguing and sticking to your guns frequently ends in more work and more time wasted, where you could have created a solution that maybe doesn't satisfy everyone, but it solves the problem and moves forward. And at the end of the day, you make a game. Maybe you weren't right, but you made a game. Now, this is just in the scope of game dev. Obviously, in the bigger picture, if something is really, really wrong happening, obviously stick to your guns. But this is video games. It's slightly different. Not as big of a deal.
Oh, yeah. I mean, bro, that is such an amazing advice.
It's really hard to learn, and especially if you're a little bit of a spicy personality like I can be. I will admit to that. I sometimes have very strong feelings that take me very rapidly. Learning how to work through what you're feeling and come to a point of calmness, or at least an ability to think and talk and communicate and move forward, is so much more rewarding, even if it doesn't feel like it in the moment. But again, it's the question, do you want to be right? And do you want to make a video game?
Yeah, some people, like, they would give out everything than just say, I am wrong. And this is a very difficult thing to do. And
I've done it myself too, plenty of times. I've been guilty of it. It sucks when you look back on it, like, damn, I was being a jerk. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have pushed so hard for that. And in the end, I wasn't wrong, but I wasn't right either, you know. But you live and you learn, you get better. And if you have one day that's terrible, tomorrow you'll be better.
Yeah,
hopefully.
I think that's just advice for life, not for
game. I have a lot of life advice. I don't have a lot of art advice. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but that's the thing that connects.
Well, and like that's the funny thing. You know what my art advice is? It's you just do it. That's the only way you get better. You just do it, man. Got a lot of advice for everything else, though.
Yeah. So my last question for you is, what would you say is the most overlooked step when creating a game-ready dinosaur asset or just game character asset?
So, again, my work with PK, again, I say like I've said this before, my work with PK is almost entirely texture-based. So my answer is going to be around the texture base and around my experience. I would say taking into account texture stretching. And this becomes less and less of an issue the more and more that systems can take larger file sizes. Like larger file sizes tend to compensate for small areas in the UV map that won't give you a whole lot of resolution. But there are certain areas like joints, especially when they animate, when the deformation happens, there is sometimes a lot of texture ripping because you didn't account for this is a joint that might be bent and stretched a little more, so to compensate for that, you increase the size and increase the resolution just a little bit in the UV map. Or you increase, another way of doing it within the mesh is increase the number of, the resolution of the mesh itself in those areas to help prevent the stretch. It's becoming less and less of an issue, again, as, you know, you can make your textures at such a resolution that it isn't noticeable. Or if it is noticeable, it's not game breaking. Also, naming conventions. I've always been a stickler myself for employing naming conventions. And the ones I do is like T for texture, underscore, whatever the file is, and then underscore, D for albedo, S for specular, AO for AO maps, etc., etc. So, and if I'm doing a material, it's M underscore, but I don't make the materials in PK. So having a really good naming system and organization for that is going to work out in your favor in the long run, even though it's more to remember to do. There are umpteen zillion files in a game. So if you're trying to search for a file to apply it to something, you know, you want to make it easy to search for. I can't begin to tell you how many texture files I have to look through in PK. There's so many. So having that naming convention makes it a lot easier.
Oh, yeah. These are really good advices because that's not... Well, about the stretching, the thing that the player might notice, it's not that, I don't know, the mesh is gonna have this much geometry or it's gonna have this many triangles. Like that's the person that plays the game, he doesn't see the triangles, he sees the some, I don't know, some stuff with the model that's just unpleasant. But yeah, and naming, that's something I definitely need to work on. Everything is just when I
Yeah.
have a project, just sphere 001, sphere 0027.
Keyboard smash.
Yeah.
Final dot, final dot, final dot for real this time, final. Yeah, no, I know that. I know that employing the naming convention is important for reasons.
Oh yeah. There are reasons for it.
And in addition to that, it's why I also employ non-destructive editing. I've learned to employ non-destructive editing, and by that I mean if you can mask it instead of erase it, mask it, because you never know when you're going to get input. When you're 80 hours into something, you're going to get input that makes you have to change something. It's going to really suck if you have to repaint a layer because you didn't use a mask. It's a little bit more work in the beginning for less work in the end.
Mm-hmm.
That made any sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Okay, thanks a lot. Now we are gonna move to the phase 2, which is the rapid fire challenge.
Let me just bring my old tablet over here. Try to get me positioned right by this camera. And let me see.
I'm gonna send you the reference.
Okay.
Because I like to keep it mystery, but yeah, I'm sorry I didn't ask in the beginning, because some people like to, have to see what it's gonna be, but I got this Spinosaurus model.
Lord.
Drawing.
Okie dokie.
It's pretty fun. I don't know what you think about it.
I love his chub. I love that. All right, I'm gonna do what I can, but
I mean,
I haven't speed sculpted.
Isn't much.
No, it's not. I haven't speed sculpted in a really long time. Do you want me to share my screen?
Yes, please.
Yep. All right. And I already put up a square to begin with.
Where?
Yep. So, whenever you are ready.
Okay. By the way, do you want to also start a timer, because some people like to have it as
yes,
well?
Please. I'm not gonna. I physically cannot tell time.
Okay, so if we can start at the same time, so just tell me if you have your finger on the start.
Yeah. So
let me 10 minutes.
0 seconds. All right, you ready?
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. Oh Lord.
So category dinosaurs and paleo art. Favorite dinosaur of all time?
I was about to say Stegosaurus, Styracosaurus.
Least favorite dinosaur.
Does that exist? And then I suppose guinea fowl. They're very loud. I don't like how loud they are.
First dinosaur you've ever sculpted?
That's a hard question. It might be Styracosaurus.
Started with a favorite.
Yeah. Could have been Velociraptor, actually. I can't remember.
Which dinosaur was the hardest to model or to sculpt?
What do you mean?
Most
in general?
Difficult, yeah, in general.
I would say any ceratopsian, because their shapes are very odd. But if you wanted something specific to like PK, we don't talk about Dinocyrus.
For a reason.
Yes, we don't talk about Dinocyrus.
Which dinosaur model was the most fun to model?
Probably anything has a lot of filamentous feathers, because then I can just speed sculpt filamentous feathers.
Carnivores or herbivores?
Irby's probably.
Mm-hmm. Feathers or scales?
In what sense?
Just overall.
Feathers easier to sculpt ultimately in a large group. Scales are cool though.
Mm-hmm.
Not knocking on scales.
Okay. Favorite dinosaur from a movie?
I did like the Jurassic Park 3 Velociraptors quite a lot. I thought they were cool. I was also like 10 at the time, so naturally I thought they were cool.
Well, I still like them. Still my favorite from the Jurassic Park. Yeah, Jurassic Park, not pork, but park.
I do like Jurassic Park pork. It's very tasty, and I just realized this reference doesn't have an open mouth.
Yes.
This is why Mao does the base meshes.
I try not to give them. I try not to give open mouths because it's a pain to do.
Thank you for that.
Jurassic Park or Jurassic World?
Park.
Mm-hmm. Which dino would you want as a pet?
I want to say Protoceratops because they're cute, but I know they've got to be spicy. That animal has to you probably have to do socialization training for a Protoceratops, man.
Really thought about it.
This is a discussion we've had in PK.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Which dinosaur do you think was the most beautiful?
I really like Dilophosaurus's entire look. That's a flashy, pretty dinosaur. Cryolophosaurus is also very fascinating.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Which dinosaur do you think was the scariest?
Can I swear?
Yeah.
I'd shit myself if I saw a Triceratops.
Really?
I would shit myself and be like, nope, getting out of there. Have you ever walked next to a cow paddock and seen a bull that didn't like you? It's terrifying. Now give that bull steak knives on its face and make it huge. I'm noping right out of there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I was not expecting herbivore as an answer, but now that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, a carnivore is gonna eat you, but only when it's hungry. An herbivore doesn't want you to eat them. An herbivore is gonna fight you.
Mm. Yeah, true.
Yeah, if you've ever been charged by a horse too, which I have, there's a fear there.
Mm-hmm. Do you believe T-Rex was a hunter or a scavenger?
I feel like from the looks of it, they probably had some sort of, and I'm not a paleontologist, I'm just an artist. But from what I've read, they do appear to have some sort of focus on ceratopsians. And they probably would have been as opportunistic as any large carnivore is going to be. But I don't think they're going to say no to a carcass that doesn't fight back.
Yeah. Favorite prehistoric marine reptile?
The really big ichthyosaurus. So I think it's either Ophthalmosaurus or Shonisaurus. They're cute. Cute little fat guys.
Cute and huge.
Yeah.
Favorite prehistoric flying reptile?
Rhamphorhynchus. I like what their teeth are doing.
Oh yeah, they're interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now it's art and creativity. Digital or traditional sketching?
Sketching, traditional.
Favorite 3D software?
Blender, but but ZBrush comes in second. But I have a lot of frustrations with ZBrush anyway. So, but that's true of every 3D program. All of them are frustrating.
Oh yeah, especially when you forget to save.
Yes, or when the file decides to save for you and crashes.
Oh yeah, that too. Sculpting or texturing? What do you prefer?
Sculpting. I love texturing, but sculpting all the way. That's my safety net. That's my comfort zone.
Least favorite part of the creative process?
When you get in the middle of it and you just want to move, but you can't because you have to draw all of these scales, Cindy, because you designed yourself into a corner, and if you're lazy with the scales, it's going to show up, and people are going to know, Cindy. So now you have to paint half of the scales on this animal, Cindy. What have you done? That's my least favorite part.
A lot of detail.
Yeah.
Fast or slow sculptor?
I think I'm pretty fast. I'm not 10 minutes get this done fast, but I like to think I'm pretty fast. I don't think so either.
Do you prefer realism or stylization?
I think that depends on what the application is. Me personally, fun as stylization is, I tend to be have a little bit more like fidelity to life in what I'm doing. And also, like I touched on this before, I'm very analytical. I'm very interested in looking at the shapes of things, the way things work. You know, my mom was an engineer. I was raised by an engineer. So I like the study that comes with making something more real.
Yeah, that's definitely a challenge to make it look real.
Yeah.
Do you listen to music while sculpting?
Yes, I try to listen to more instrumental music because I get distracted by lyrics. So I listen to a lot of instrumental bluegrass. I really like bluegrass and American folk music. But I'll also listen to synthwave, other electronica, and classical music as well.
Yeah. What time of the day are you most creative?
Unpredictable.
Oh.
Ah, damn it!
Yeah,
I wanted to go longer. Look at this guy. Look at this Gumby. No, I could have done so much better. Why did I care about the neck? The neck was pointless, Cindy. Oh, I want to fix it. I want to fix it so bad.
If you want, we can continue because I have like 60 more questions. I can do it like an extra segment later on. Okay, so now no time constraint.
Oh my God.
Unless you actually have something to do later on.
Nope.
Coffee or tea while working?
I drink both, but usually by the time that I'm full zone working, I'm drinking tea.
Do you snack while sculpting?
No. No. Part of that is when I remember to take my medication, it actually reduces appetite. So I will frequently forget to eat. But that's fine. I have a binge eating problem. So I'm okay with that.
Okay. Another question. Biggest source of inspiration?
In life or in art?
Overall, it's up to you. How you understand the question.
Got to think about this. I think in art, it's probably nature is my biggest inspiration and natural processes. I find it also very inspiring, or at least interesting, in the rest of life. Probably my family is a big inspiration, I suppose. I talk about my mom a lot, so I'm going to continue to talk about my mom a lot. She actually was in the Naval Academy. I think she was the second or third graduating class of women ever at the Naval Academy. And there's something really cool and interesting about that.
Amazing. Another category, just the 3D industry. How old were you when you decided to do 3D art?
10 or 11.
First paid project, what was it?
Pardon, I didn't quite get that.
First paid project.
So my first job ever, I was doing... Oh, why did that happen? Oh, Christ. Thanks, ZBrush. Well, I'm just gonna make that go down. No, I can't. Okay, whatever. Okay, ZBrush. I don't know what I did. That's fine. This is fine. There's only one subtool. Okay. I'll just sculpt around it. It's okay. What was the question? Right, first project. Yes. My first job that I had in high school, I was actually doing little comic strips, drawing little comic strips for a computer repair company local to where I grew up. But first paid 3D modeling project. I worked on a couple of small projects. One of them was for a company that was in Richmond where I went to school. And their project actually got bought by Sony. But then Sony decided that they didn't want to develop it anymore, and that the team that was developing it couldn't develop it on their own. I don't know if that's under any sort of don't talk about it or anything still. But it was for one of those. And they also did a Facebook game that was like Farmville, but for learning about how to deal with stormwater. So conserving water. Those were my two first projects.
Interesting.
Yeah. Oh, the places you'll go.
I mean, I probably have the answer to it, but dream studio to work with.
I almost got a job working for Avalanche. But what I was told was that they couldn't get a work visa for me, and I was not given any more details, but presumably it had to do with COVID because it was 2020. But I would not mind working for them. I would not mind that healthcare.
Do you prefer freelancing or studio work?
I think I would prefer, and see, this is the interesting thing because I own a studio. So were I not working on PK, I think I would prefer the studio work because there would be some stability in it. And I would be able, presumably, if it was a big enough studio, to get the benefits. And that would also satisfy 20-year-old me a whole lot more. She'd be less anxious.
How long was your longest project?
10 years. It's still going.
Yep. How short was your shortest project?
4 months. That was that Stormwater Sentries. That was the name of the game. That was that Stormwater game on Facebook.
Okay. Most fun collaboration?
PK!
Hardest deadline you've had to meet?
Getting all of the infant skins for the update done and ready.
Hmm.
Because we definitely had plans for it. But then once the deadline started looming, there was a lot of animals I had to make skins for.
Oh yeah, a lot of animals, definitely. Do you think AI would change 3D art?
I think, and like honestly, I haven't paid a whole lot of close attention to it because I like having my mental health.
Now, what is the worst advice that you ever got?
The worst advice I ever got was choose a different career. And there are days where I will wake up and think of that and middle finger them as I'm getting paid to make dinosaurs.
Yeah, good thing you didn't listen to it.
Oh yeah, no. Screw that guy.
A book that influenced your art the most?
There is, and this actually has more to do with like general anatomy and also just drawing figures. There's a book by Sarah Simblett, and I think it's published by DK, called Anatomy for the Artist, and her work is absolutely phenomenally beautiful, and it flows really well. Also, fun anecdote, my figure drawing teacher in college was an ex-Soviet paratrooper. God bless him. He was fun and hard to impress, hard to make laugh, ex-Soviet paratrooper. But I brought that book in as an alternative to having to buy a different textbook. And he looked at it and he went, "He's good. I'm fine with this." And I said, "Word." So it's called Anatomy for the Artist by Sarah Simblett. It's wonderful.
I will link it in the description if someone's interested.
I miss that guy. He unfortunately he passed like a year or two after I graduated, but he was cool.
Favorite online course or tutorial?
I really hate video tutorials. I'm not very good at them. I'm very impatient. And the problem I have is I don't want to sit through 5 minutes of talking if I only need 30 seconds of information of how to do something. So I don't really have an answer to that question. No. Maybe this is why I've been self-taught this whole time. It could be related.
Yeah. Yeah, could be. Favorite paleo artist growing up?
Doug Henderson. I really liked his work. His work is so atmospheric. It's beautiful. I also liked Gurney, of course.
No, yeah.
And I don't know how to pronounce his name. But the one that did Burian, the one that did that Iguanodon, I love his palette and I love the way that he handled.
You mean of the dinosaur Disney movie? Or
No. He was active in the 1960s. I want to say his name is Zdeněk, but I don't know how to pronounce it.
Oh, Zdeněk.
Zdeněk. Okay, now I know how to pronounce it. Zdeněk. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. I think he's the OG of the original of the paleo art.
For sure. I love his palette and I love the way that he handles the paint. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Biggest skill you're working on right now?
Just getting my work to have crispness and sharpness to it. A lot of my colleagues have just overall a sharper look in their models that I wish I could get closer to. Also, there's a lot of skills I don't have with specifically like ZBrush. Just a lack of knowledge. And part of that was just how like little schooling I got in 3D stuff when I went to college. Because like I said, I primarily went to college for illustration. The 3D program they used was Mudbox, which I actually do still like Mudbox, but ZBrush has a lot of power compared to Mudbox, so that's why I'm still using Mudbox, or using ZBrush now. But there are certain things, like certain knowledge bases, I lack that I would like to get better at.
Yeah.
And maybe paying attention to video tutorials would be a skill that would help with that.
Yeah, it could help.
It could, just a little. It
Yeah,
might be nice.
If you can sit and maybe read a book, I don't know if that's...
I can do that.
Yeah.
Reading books is like, because I can, at that point, I can skip. Like, I can skip to the bit of information I need. I don't have to sit there and wait, you know?
Oh, yeah, I see. How many hours a week do you practice sculpting?
Well, I would say that because I do it as my job, I don't practice much because I'm doing it as my job. But in the idea of it being as my job, 40 hours.
Yeah.
I could probably stand to practice a lot more.
Now it's anatomy and science. Human anatomy or animal anatomy, which is harder?
I think that depends on what you're inclined to, but I will say that humans are shaped very strangely. And because we're also human, we tend to see mistakes more readily. So I would say overall human, but I treat human anatomy and animal similarly because humans are tetrapods after all, and a lot of the bone and muscle groups are the same between different tetrapod species. They're just at different proportions for different uses.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at human faces. That is my biggest weakness.
Yeah, but if you do use model dinosaurs as your job, you don't really need to
Correct.
be good at creating faces.
Unless I'm put on a task that requires making faces.
Then yes, yeah. Do you study fossils before sculpting?
Yes. If I'm given specific, especially if I'm given specific references to look at. If not, I will look at the fossils, and a lot of times I look at muscular, just predicted muscular attachments and all of that. So yes, I use references.
Hardest part of dinosaur anatomy to sculpt? Or the most difficult, not hardest?
Ceratopsian frills are really tricky, especially around the area where it goes into the, I want to say they're the jugals, but the little schlibbity bits that go in. That can be pretty tricky to get right.
Yeah, their skulls are really bizarre. So
yeah.
It is difficult to do. By the way, do you want us to keep going? I don't want to, tire you with these questions.
I am not tired. I can go for a while. I am not tired. I am not bored. You tell me. The only I pretty much figured this might take some time. So
okay.
I'm pretty clear. Yeah.
And
I really want to get this right.
Yeah, you can see you just trying spending a good few minutes on DI.
I like how this whole time I've still had whatever this is.
Yeah.
Like, my son, why are you here? You're in front of the other one. You're not the favorite.
Do you prefer skeletal or musculature studies for reference?
You need both. I do prefer to have the muscular references because they tend to also have the skeletal bits in there. But you need to know what the skeletal bits look like. And the thing is, no matter how much body fat the animal has, it's still going to have bony landmarks. And you need to do those bony landmarks or it's not going to look right.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
So preference would be muscular, but that does not take away from the importance of skeletals.
Yeah, because without the bony landmarks, it's gonna look like a meat something.
Yeah. And you're also not going to get the right proportions, ultimately.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever improvise details?
Yes, all the time.
Do you think, I don't know, okay, do you think paleo art is more art or more science?
I think that's going... A lot of my answers to your questions are, it depends. That depends on your client. If you are, illustrating a figure in a scientific or academic paper or setting, it's going to need to be more science. If you're making a dinosaur zoo game, you can have a little bit of it. Mm-hmm. It can be a little bit more art.
Now it's category pop culture and fun.
All right, hit me.
Favorite dinosaur movie?
Probably Land Before.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Favorite dinosaur documentary?
I was a little bit too old and too cool for school when Walking with Dinosaurs came out. So I'm actually not sure. Prehistoric Planet's all right.
Oh yeah.
I haven't seen the new season. Oh, what's the one that Werner Herzog is the narrator?
Dinosaur Planet? No, not
No. It's not Where is this frog? It's not Dinosaur Symphony, but it's something like that. It's got Werner Herzog in it. That's my favorite one because it's got Werner Herzog in it.
Interesting. Favorite paleo art book?
I haven't read Color and Light, and I don't know if that really constitutes a paleo art book because it's a book about how to paint. Mm-hmm. But I would say probably Color and Light. But I say that having not read it, so I'm not a good source.
Yeah, it's by James Gurney, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Best CGI dinosaur ever made, or the show that had it.
I would probably say, if we're looking at overall execution, the original Jurassic Park, because some of those effects still stand up, and the fact that they blended it so effectively with their with their props is amazing. As far as designs go, I'm kind of ambivalent. Probably Jurassic Park 3.
Yeah, but the first part, or just the classic Jurassic Park, yeah, the T-Rex still holds up. It's amazing.
And especially considering at the time, both the source material and the actual adaptation of the novel, you know, you're kind of around the throes of the dinosaur revolution. So at the time, they were actually fairly accurate. Mm-hmm. So you sort of got the best of both worlds with that.
Yeah, true.
But, you know, it became a franchise, and I understand why they're sticking to what the franchise look is. Like, I get that. I understand that. I'm not going to fault them for that.
Yeah.
They have a look. They have to stick to the look.
Yeah, it's basically like the T-Rex is the icon of the Jurassic Park, so gotta stick with it. Worst CGI dinosaur.
She's joined us. Everything in the Jurassic World series. There, I said it. I'm not the only one who said it, but I think they're ugly.
A favorite movie creature that's not a dinosaur.
The haunted bear creature from Annihilation.
Oh, yes, I have to agree with this.
Oh, man, I still get goosebumps with it. It was just beautiful. Cinema. Gorgeous. Also, whatever was going on in The Thing. That was great.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that not many people mention Annihilation because it's such a good movie. Like, the mood is just...
The books are amazing too. You should read the book series. Oh my god. They're very different from the movie.
Really?
But they're very different. But the vibes are the same, and I appreciate them both for what they are. You should definitely read the book series, though. It's so good.
I was actually looking for a read now. Thank you. I'm gonna totally read it. Get it?
Oh, yeah.
Would you ride a dinosaur if it was safe?
Yes. I ride horses, so yes.
Instant yes.
Yeah.
Favorite video game with dinosaurs?
I mean, Zoo Tycoon 2 was pretty fun. J-Pog was really, really good, especially at the time. I really liked the special edition Sega Genesis Jurassic Park game, because then you could play as the Velociraptor.
Oh. Okay, interesting. Now it's personal life and lifestyle. Morning person or night owl?
No, night owl. Absolutely not morning person.
Do you like working in silence?
No. I like to have music playing, but I don't like working when people are talking to me. Except for now. For some reason, it's fine.
City life or nature?
They have their benefits. I would say overall nature. I grew up in a very rural area. I hate that word. I grew up in a very country area, and I really like it and I really appreciate it. That being said, there are so many benefits to living in the city, not least among them being a larger group of people you can be around, and a greater variety of things, and much closer amenities. Both have their benefits and their drawbacks. Overall, I'm a country mouse.
Okay, like I must know the answer to the next question. Cats or dogs?
I love you, baby girl. I'm sorry. I know. That was a horrible thing I just did. I am so sorry, baby girl. I am so sorry. Will you forgive me? No? Well, you're still here. Cats.
I knew it.
I don't dislike dogs. I like dogs well enough. I like my friends' dogs. I am actually a little bit afraid of dogs I don't know. But that's more of a, that's a phobia. It's not that I dislike them. I'm sorry, baby girl. I know how much you hate being picked up. Are you okay? Oh, yeah, okay, sweetie. Thank you for that. Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be able to work now. See if I can work around her, too. Maybe. Are you going to do it? Are you going to punch me? Are you going to headbutt me? Which one? There we go.
So the answer was apparent.
Yeah.
Favorite color?
Excuse you. Black or purple?
Favorite food?
Taco Bell has a really good thing called the cheesy bean and rice burrito, and I love the cheesy bean and rice burrito. So Latin American food.
Oh yeah, I have to agree. Comfort food after a long day.
Taco Bell has really good taquitos. I say that they're good. They're not good for you. They're actually terrible for you. Absolutely awful. And I don't even think they taste all that good, but they taste good. In that sort of, I can't believe I'm eating this filth type of way.
Yeah, but it is comfort food, so it doesn't need to be healthy.
Thank God.
It's
comforting while it kills me slowly.
Okay, last category. Quick preferences. Raptors or ceratopsians?
Ceratopsians.
ZBrush or Blender?
Depends on what I'm trying. Depends on what I'm trying to do.
Photoshop or Substance Painter?
Photoshop. But that depends on what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, the answer depends.
Yeah.
Long projects or short projects?
Short.
Speed or accuracy?
Accuracy.
Traditional art or digital art?
No preference.
Work solo or in a team?
Team.
And the last question of them all, dinosaurs. Science first or imagination first?
Again, depends. I think at the heart of why scientists go into it is imagination, though. Obviously, if you're trying to be rigorous with what it is, it's got to be science first. Anything else, imagination first, temper it with the science.
Yeah, true. Okay, thank you so much for being a part of this podcast. I appreciate your answers. They were really, you went in depth, basically to all of them, even the rapid ones.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts. And they like to be spoken, so.
Okay, thank you so much, guys.
Of course,
if to the viewers now, guys, if you want to watch another episode of the interviews, the XYZ, you're totally free to do so. Here I will have a link pop up, and see you next time. Bye.